I always thought my marriage was solid. Sure, we had our arguments. What couple doesn't? But I never imagined the man I shared my life with, the man I trusted more than anyone else, would be the very one plotting my death. My name is Angela, and this is the story of how my husband tried to kill me for money and how I shocked him in a courtroom he never thought I'd walk into. When I look back now, the signs were there. My husband, Marcus, had become distant, cold. He'd stopped looking at me like I was his wife, and more like I was some obstacle in his way. We'd been married for 12 years. 12 years of dinners, vacations, inside jokes. I thought we were building a life together, but Marcus had other plans. Plans that didn't include me at all. It started with the insurance. He convinced me to increase my life insurance policy, said it was just smart planning. He played the role of a caring husband, talking about securing our future, protecting him in case anything ever happened to me. I didn't think twice. I trusted him. I signed the papers. I never knew I was signing what he thought would be my death certificate. It was late, around midnight, when Marcus suggested we take a drive. He said he wanted to clear his head, get some air. I didn't question it. I slipped on a sweater and went with him. The night was quiet, too quiet. The streets were empty as we drove out toward the back roads near the woods. I remember asking him why we were going so far. He just smiled and said, "Don't worry, baby. I know where I'm going." Those words haunt me to this day. We stopped by an old bridge. Marcus got out, told me to come see the view. The air was cold, my breath visible in the moonlight. He stood behind me, his hands on my shoulders. For a second, I thought it was romantic, and then he pushed. I felt my body tilt forward, the ground disappearing beneath me. My scream was swallowed by the night as I hit the freezing water below. The shock stole my breath, the current dragging me under. Marcus didn't jump in after me. He didn't call for help. No, he just stood there, watching. I saw him, just a shadow on the bridge, as I fought to stay alive. The river should have killed me. The rocks, the current, the cold. But somehow I survived. I don't remember much of that night. I remember crawling to the bank, my body shaking uncontrollably. My head was bleeding. My ribs felt like they were on fire. But I was alive. A fisherman found me the next morning, barely conscious, my clothes torn and soaked through. He called 911. At the hospital, I told the doctors I'd been in an accident. I didn't mention Marcus. Not yet. I needed to understand why. I needed proof. And deep down, I wanted to see what he would do next. Marcus didn't even visit me in the hospital. Not once. Instead, while I was recovering, he was busy trying to cash in on my death. He went to the insurance company, acting like a grieving husband. He said I had drowned, that my body was probably swept away by the current. He even brought fake tears to the meeting, telling them how devastated he was. But the company wasn't convinced. They needed a death certificate. They needed proof. When they declined his claim, Marcus grew furious. Furious enough to take them to court. Imagine that. My husband standing in a courtroom trying to convince a judge that I was dead, while I was still breathing. When the district attorney reached out to me, after the insurance company flagged his suspicious behavior, I knew it was my chance. They wanted me to testify, to walk into that courtroom and expose him. But I didn't want to just expose him. I wanted him to feel what I felt. The fear, the shock, the betrayal. So I stayed quiet. I let him think he had won. I let him walk into that courtroom believing his plan was still working. He had no idea what was coming. The courtroom was packed the day of the hearing. Marcus stood tall, dressed in a black suit, his voice dripping with fake sorrow as he told the judge about his late wife. He painted this picture of me. How much he loved me, how much he missed me. He even dabbed his eyes with a tissue, like some actor in a play. I sat in the hallway, my heart pounding in my chest. When the judge asked if anyone had evidence or testimony to bring forward, that was my cue. The doors opened and I walked in. The entire room gasped. Marcus's face? Oh, I'll never forget it. His jaw dropped. His eyes widened in pure horror. He stumbled backward like he'd seen a ghost. And in a way, he had. I stood before the judge, my voice steady even though my hands were trembling. Your Honor, I said, my name is Angela Williams, and I am very much alive. Gasps echoed through the courtroom. The judge's eyebrows shot up. The attorneys froze mid-sentence. And Marcus? He looked like he was about to collapse. I went on. Step by step, I told them everything. How Marcus insisted we increase my life insurance. How he lured me to that bridge. How he pushed me into the freezing river. How he left me there to die. I described the way he watched from above, the way he didn't even try to help me. I showed the scars, the medical reports, the photographs of my injuries. Every word was a nail in his coffin. Marcus broke. Right there in the courtroom, he snapped. He stood up, shouting that I was lying, that I was making it all up. But his words were frantic, wild, and desperate. The mask he wore for so long slipped right off. The judge silenced him, warning him to sit down. But Marcus couldn't. His guilt was written all over his face. The jury didn't take long. Attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy. They found him guilty on all counts. I walked out of that courtroom free, but not the same. Marcus went to prison, and I was left to rebuild my life from the ashes of what he tried to destroy. Do you know what betrayal feels like? It's not just heartbreak. It's not just anger. It's standing in front of the person you thought would die for you, only to realize they were willing to kill you. But I lived, and I'll keep living, not just to spite him, but to remind myself that no matter how deep someone tries to bury you, the truth will always rise to the surface.